Eyewitness News is tracking Irene. The monster storm is reaching land once again tonight, bearing down on North Carolina's Outer Banks. Here's the latest images on satellite radar. Although Irene is only a Category 2 storm, it's massive in size, and an estimated 26 million people will be affected by it tonight and in the coming days.
And as you can see from the satellite image, it is over North Carolina right now where Irene is hitting. You can imagine the waves that are coming up on shore, a sight that we will probably see here within the next 24 hours.
Meanwhile, here at home, officials are preparing for the worst. Now, here's the latest at this hour. State of emergencies have been declared in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Rhode Island is now under a hurricane warning tonight, and a total of 8 Rhode Island towns have issued mandatory evacuations, with many others issuing voluntary evacuations. Many
of those mandatory evacuations come from coastal communities. They include Westerly, Charlestown, South Kingstown, Narragansett, Coventry, Jamestown, Portsmouth, and Bristol. Officials are warning everyone, if you want to leave, you should do so by tomorrow afternoon. We have live pinpoint weather team coverage. Eyewitness News reporter Marilyn Scherer and Neka Nwosu are live with more on local preparations.
But first, Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca has the latest on the storm's path.
Well, the storm now with winds of 100 miles per hour taking aim on the North Carolina coastline. Top winds at Category 2 strength, moving off to the northeast now. That is a change in the last 6 hours. Its due northward movement now is at around 15 miles per hour, and it's heading towards the Carolina coastline as a Category 2 storm, looking at winds to eventually decrease as we get into the overnight hours and towards tomorrow morning. It'll probably be downgraded to a Category 1 and then make its approach towards southern New England by very, very late tomorrow night. More than likely Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. It's either weakening Category 1 hurricane or a strong tropical storm. Nonetheless, it's a wide storm. It covers a large area, and significant impacts in rain, wind, and storm surge are likely by the second half of the weekend.
All right, thank you, Tony. Hurricane Irene is getting ready to take aim at North Carolina. The National Hurricane Center says its main concern is storm surge, as much as 11 feet. A live look now at Nags Head. Actually, we don't have that, but is on the outer banks of the state. Large waves are moving in and strong winds. Eyewitness News reporter Karen Brown joins us now with the latest developments from Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina.
Irene's outer bands are already whipping up the sea off North Carolina. The storm may linger over the state for 12 to 14 hours. But Governor Perdue says Irene is expected to weaken around sunrise.
This could still be a large and powerful storm, winds approaching about 100 miles an hour.
180,000 people have fled Dare County alone, and with good reason. Some sections of the Outer Banks are only as wide as a couple of football fields. Irene could force a wall of water across low-lying areas and split the Outer Banks in half.
I refunded 5 nights.
82-year-old Carol Dillon's motel guests have fled, but she's decided to stick it out.
If it happens, it happens.
Dillon is the kind of holdout authorities are worried about.
At a certain wind speed, 65 miles per hour, we're not going to be able to get to them.
Forecasters say Irene is moving slower than normal, which means there's more time for the wind and rain to wreak havoc, even on businesses like this one that are all boarded up. It also increases the chances of severe flooding. FEMA teams are already in position in a number of states. A group of Red Cross volunteers from South Carolina were dispatched to North Carolina Friday. They have medical backgrounds and will be deployed to the areas with the greatest need.
We all hope that should we ever need services related to a disaster, that somebody will be there for us.
Now it's a matter of watching and waiting as Irene bears down.
This hurricane could affect 65 million people along the East Coast. Real estate experts are forecasting a multi-billion-dollar disaster in terms of damage.
Business owners in the Watch Hill section of Westerly spent the day preparing for the worst prior to their evacuations. Our cameras caught some of them boarding up windows and sending their own personal messages to Irene. Eyewitness News reporter Neka Nwosu continues our live pinpoint weather team coverage as we continue to track Irene.
Well, Mike, it wasn't just business owners. Residents and visitors are also listening to warnings and starting to pack up. But really, they just want Irene to back off. At Moe's Books and Art on Watch Hill, they're not selling, but sawing, boarding up, and closing shop.
town came in and told us we had to be out.
With southern New England in Irene's path, Westerly is ordering an evacuation of low-lying sections of town. By 8 o'clock Saturday morning, only residents, business owners, and employees will be allowed into areas like Watch Hill. But by 6 p.m., everyone has to be out. And for some, that means vacations are cut short. If we weren't getting a hurricane, would you stay longer?
Oh, yeah, I love it around here. Come here quite often.
We're going to go home and batten down the hatches and get ready for it. So.
While businesses and vacationers prepare for the hurricane, some are looking on the bright side of the storm. Are you hoping this is going to push back the start of school?
Yeah. Yes, very much.
Over at Moe's Books, they're asking Irene to back off.
I'm preparing for the worst and hoping for the best.
And the town of Westerly also wants residents to know if you need emergency housing, you can go to the Red Cross shelter at the Westerly Senior Center on State Street. Pet owners can take their pets to the Westerly Animal Shelter Saturday between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Neka Nwosu, Eyewitness News.
Every single state agency has been working together to make sure the entire state is prepared for Hurricane Irene. That kind of coordination is not common, but they want to make sure they're ready. And now the rest is up to you. Rhode Island is ready.
I think you should know you have a federal, state, local, and military partnership here, which is, I wouldn't say unprecedented, but the people in the state of Rhode Island should be very comfortable to know the activity that happens that they're not aware of behind the scenes trying to make this right.
We've had direct contact with the leadership of the 39 cities and towns throughout the state of Rhode Island.
The question now is, are you ready?
At this point in time, I want to reemphasize the need for continued personal preparation.
The state has already been in touch with cities and towns and police chiefs to coordinate pending evacuations. There are also 300 National Guard troops on standby.
Should they be needed to support any of the communities, cities and towns as we move forward over the next day or two prior to the storm event, particularly as it relates to traffic control.
All the state is asking of you is to plan ahead, be prepared, be ready to leave if you need to, stay informed, and stay safe.
We're looking at widespread power outages, potential for storm surge, as I mentioned earlier today. So we want to be prepared for that.
National Grid also has crews on standby in advance of almost certain power outages. But most important,
we stress for people to stay away from the wires, and also when you're using generators, all right, they need to be outside, ventilated, and you have to be very careful using those.
Major General McBride also says the hurricane barrier has been tested within the last few days and it is ready in case it's needed.
We have more in-depth coverage tonight as we continue to track Hurricane Irene. Coming up, the latest closings and other preparations from around the state. We'll also have more on how New York City is bracing for Irene's wrath. And Tony will be back with another look at his full futurecast and the projected storm surge.